Imagine waking up one day and realizing that you see the world differently from those around you. Conversations that others find interesting seem predictable, shallow even. The topics that ignite your curiosity are the ones most people avoid. Questions about existence, morality, power, and truth. You notice contradictions that others overlook. You find it difficult to blindly follow the rules and expectations that shape everyday life. If this sounds familiar, you might be more intelligent than you realize, but not in the way society defines intelligence. True intelligence, according to Nietzsche, is not about good grades or the ability to memorize facts. It's not about impressing people with knowledge or being recognized as smart. It's something deeper, something rarer. It is a form of heightened awareness, an ability to see through illusions, to think for yourself, and to carve out a unique path in life, no matter the cost. But intelligence, as Nietzsche saw it, is not just a blessing. It can be a curse. It isolates you. It forces you to question things most people accept without thought. It pushes you toward a life of depth, but also a life of struggle, because when you truly think for yourself, you no longer belong to the crowd. Nietzsche believed that true intelligence is often hidden, even from the person who possesses it. That's because intelligence isn't just about knowing. It's about sensing, feeling, perceiving reality in a way that others cannot. And it often comes with certain traits, behaviors, and struggles that set you apart from the masses. But these signs are subtle. They don't always look like intelligence from the outside. In fact, they can sometimes make you feel like something is wrong with you. So how do you know? How can you tell if you possess the kind of intelligence Nietzsche spoke about? The first clue lies in something most people take for granted: the ability to accept what they're told. From a young age, highly intelligent individuals experience an uneasiness with conventional wisdom. They question rules, traditions, and authority, not because they want to rebel, but because they see the cracks in the logic. Where others see structure, they see limitations. Where others see certainty, they see contradictions. Nietzsche himself was obsessed with questioning the beliefs of his time. He saw how people blindly followed religious dogma, how they accepted morality as something fixed and universal. He argued that what most called truth was often just a convenient illusion, something created by those in power to keep people obedient and predictable. If you have ever felt a quiet discomfort with what you've been taught, if you've sensed that society's rules are arbitrary rather than absolute, this may be a sign that your intelligence operates on a different level. It means your mind does not simply absorb ideas, it challenges them. But this ability to see through illusions comes at a cost. It creates a sense of detachment. You watch as people go about their lives, following the script laid out for them: school, career, marriage, retirement, without ever stopping to question if it's truly what they want. And you wonder, am I the only one who sees how absurd this is? This is where the second hidden sign of intelligence reveals itself: the feeling of being an outsider. Nietzsche once wrote, "The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly." Those with a deep intelligence often feel disconnected from others, not because they want to be alone, but because finding like-minded individuals is rare. Maybe you've experienced this. You're surrounded by people, but you still feel a kind of distance. You crave deep conversations, but others seem content talking about trivialities. You express an idea, but people either misunderstand you or dismiss it as thinking too much. Over time, you learn to keep certain thoughts to yourself, not because you want to hide them, but because you realize that most people won't get it. Nietzsche saw this as an inevitable part of intelligence. To think deeply is to walk alone. To see more than others is to carry a burden they do not share. This is why so many of the greatest thinkers, artists, and innovators in history were misunderstood, rejected, or even ridiculed in their time. They were ahead of their era, speaking truths that the world was not yet ready to hear. And yet, despite this isolation, highly intelligent individuals do not lose themselves in despair. Instead, they cultivate something that Nietzsche believed was essential to true intelligence: a relentless curiosity. If there is one trait that separates highly intelligent individuals from the rest, it is this: they never stop questioning. They do not settle for easy answers. They do not accept the world as it is given to them. Instead, they search, they explore, they challenge themselves, pushing their minds beyond what is comfortable. Nietzsche himself was obsessed with exploration, not of physical places but of ideas, of concepts, of ways of living. He rejected the idea of a fixed truth and instead embraced the idea that life itself should be a process of constant discovery. He believed that true intelligence was not just about knowledge, but about transformation, the ability to evolve, to break free from outdated beliefs, to recreate oneself over and over again. This is why highly intelligent individuals often feel a restlessness inside them. They are never satisfied with the status quo. They always feel there is something more to uncover, something deeper to understand. While others find comfort in routine, they find comfort in growth. But this kind of intelligence does not always make life easy. In fact, it often makes it harder, because the more you see, the more you question. The more you question, the more you realize how much is uncertain, and uncertainty is something most people cannot tolerate. Nietzsche believed that the greatest minds were those who could embrace uncertainty, who could stand at the edge of the unknown and not turn away in fear. He saw intelligence not as a way to find security, but as a way to embrace chaos, to learn how to dance with life rather than control it. But not everyone is capable of this. Most people seek stability, reassurance, a sense of certainty about the world. Those who are truly intelligent, however, do not cling to such illusions. They do not seek comfort, they seek truth, even when it is difficult, even when it leads them away from the crowd. And this is what makes them different. Not just their ability to think deeply, but their willingness to accept the consequences of doing so. Their willingness to walk alone if necessary. Their willingness to embrace the unknown rather than fear it. But intelligence, at least in Nietzsche's view, is not just about how one thinks. It is also about how one lives. True intelligence, according to Nietzsche, is not just an abstract quality of the mind. It is something that must be lived. It is not enough to simply think differently. One must also act differently. The way a person engages with life, the choices they make, and the way they navigate existence all reveal the depth of their intelligence. And for those who possess it, the world does not always make things easy. One of the most striking signs of intelligence, often unnoticed by those who have it, is an instinctive resistance to conformity. From a young age, highly intelligent individuals sense that the path society lays out for them is not necessarily the only or the best path. They feel a quiet discomfort with the idea of simply following the crowd. While others accept rules, norms, and expectations as given, the intelligent mind questions them at every step. Why must life be lived this way? Who decided these were the rules? Are we truly free, or are we simply playing out a script that was handed to us? Nietzsche saw this as one of the defining struggles of the intelligent individual. Society does not reward those who question its foundations, it punishes them. Those who stray too far from the accepted path are labeled troublemakers, outcasts, even failures. But Nietzsche saw these individuals as the ones who truly lived. He believed that blind conformity was the death of the mind, a surrender to mediocrity. The intelligent person is not content with mere existence. They seek something more, something higher. This is why highly intelligent individuals often feel disconnected from mainstream culture. Trends, social fads, and shallow entertainment hold little appeal to them. While others are easily satisfied with distractions, the intelligent mind craves depth, meaning, and challenge. They find themselves drawn to philosophy, literature, art, and complex ideas. Anything that forces them to think, to question, to engage with reality on a deeper level. But this craving for depth can make social interactions difficult. Conversations that others find exciting often feel empty. Small talk is exhausting. The endless pursuit of status, money, and validation feels pointless. Nietzsche believed that those who think deeply are destined to be misunderstood by the majority. They are speaking a different language, seeing the world through a different lens. Their minds are not focused on what is immediately profitable or popular, but on what is real. And this creates a natural divide. They often find themselves alone, not because they dislike people, but because finding true intellectual equals is rare. But intelligence, as Nietzsche saw it, is not simply about rejecting the world, it is about creating one's own world. The intelligent individual does not simply critique, they build. They construct their own values, their own purpose, their own unique way of living. This is the idea of the Übermensch, the higher individual who does not accept imposed morality or meaning, but instead creates their own path. This is perhaps the greatest sign of intelligence, the ability to think and live beyond inherited values. Most people are content to live within the moral, religious, and ideological frameworks they were born into. They do not question why they believe what they believe, they simply accept it as truth. The intelligent individual, however, is never satisfied with borrowed beliefs. They break them apart, examine them, and decide for themselves what is worth keeping and what must be discarded. Nietzsche's idea of the death of God was not just about religion. It was about the collapse of all inherited structures of meaning. He saw that intelligent individuals were forced to confront a terrifying reality. If all values are constructed, then it is up to us to create our own. And this is no easy task. It is far simpler to follow the rules, to accept the comfort of certainty, to live as others live. But the truly intelligent do not settle for this. They take responsibility for their own beliefs, their own morality, their own purpose. This is why Nietzsche believed that intelligence requires courage. It is not just about being smart, it is about being strong enough to handle the weight of reality. Because once you see through the illusions of society, once you recognize that meaning is not given but created, you have no one to rely on but yourself. The truly intelligent are those who do not shrink from this responsibility, but embrace it. They do not look for external validation, they validate themselves. This is why intelligent individuals often seem intensely independent. They do not need others to tell them what to think or how to live. They trust their own judgment, even when it goes against the majority. They are capable of solitude, not as an escape, but as a space for deep thought and personal growth. Nietzsche himself spent much of his life alone, writing, thinking, and pushing the boundaries of philosophy. He saw solitude not as loneliness, but as a necessity for those who wish to become who they truly are. But this path is not without its dangers. Nietzsche warned that intelligence, if not properly directed, can turn against itself. The more deeply one thinks, the more one sees the contradictions, the absurdities, the chaos of life. Without a strong sense of purpose, intelligence can lead to despair. This is why Nietzsche believed that true intelligence must be paired with action. It is not enough to think, you must create. You must channel your mind into something real, something meaningful, whether it is through art, philosophy, science, or personal transformation. Intelligence must be expressed, or it risks consuming itself. This is the difference between those who are merely intellectual and those who are truly intelligent. The intellectual collects knowledge, debates theories, and accumulates facts. The truly intelligent uses their mind to shape reality. They do not just understand the world, they change it. They see beyond the present, beyond what is expected, beyond what is comfortable, and they act. Nietzsche saw this as the ultimate challenge of intelligence, to think deeply but not to drown in thought, to see through illusions but not to fall into nihilism, to question everything but still find a way to affirm life. The highest intelligence is not the one that rejects life, but the one that embraces it fully, despite all its suffering and uncertainty. So if you find yourself questioning, doubting, resisting, feeling separate from the crowd, do not mistake this for weakness. It may be the greatest sign of intelligence there is. But intelligence alone is not enough. The real question is, what will you do with it? Nietzsche believed that intelligence is both a gift and a burden. Those who possess it see the world more clearly than others, but this clarity comes at a cost. When you see through the illusions that keep most people comfortable, you are left with a choice: to live in quiet discontent, suppressing what you know, or to fully embrace your intelligence and carve out a path of your own. But this is where the real challenge begins. Intelligence alone is not enough to lead a meaningful life. Many highly intelligent individuals struggle not because they lack ability, but because they lack direction. Their minds are powerful, but without purpose, they turn in on themselves, overanalyzing everything, second-guessing their decisions, and sometimes falling into despair. Nietzsche saw this as one of the greatest dangers of intelligence: paralysis through overthinking. This is why Nietzsche placed such importance on self-overcoming. He argued that intelligence, if not actively directed toward a higher goal, becomes destructive. It makes a person restless, unsatisfied, and prone to doubt. He saw this in himself. His mind was relentless, always questioning, always dissecting. But instead of allowing this to consume him, he used it as fuel for creation. This is the mark of true intelligence, not just the ability to think, but the ability to turn thought into something real. One of the greatest tests of intelligence, then, is the ability to take decisive action. Many highly intelligent individuals hesitate when making choices. They see too many possibilities, too many risks, too many ways things could go wrong. But Nietzsche believed that this hesitation is a form of weakness. The truly intelligent do not just analyze, they act. They take risks, they experiment, they put their ideas into motion. This is why Nietzsche admired the concept of the warrior philosopher. He did not believe intelligence should be passive, locked away in books or endless contemplation. He believed it should be active, engaged with life, tested through experience. Intelligence should not be used to escape reality, but to shape it. And yet, society does not make this easy. Intelligent individuals often feel like they do not belong. They see through the empty routines, the shallow conversations, the mindless distractions that others embrace. They struggle to find people who think like them, who challenge them, who understand them. Many give up and isolate themselves completely. But Nietzsche warned against this. True intelligence is not about rejecting the world, it is about transcending it. The intelligent individual must find a way to exist within society without being controlled by it. This means learning how to play the game without losing yourself. Nietzsche was deeply critical of those who tried to force intelligence into rigid categories, whether through academia, social norms, or institutions. He believed that intelligence must remain free, adaptable, and constantly evolving. This is why he admired figures who were not just thinkers, but creators, artists, visionaries, leaders, those who did not simply analyze life, but shaped it. He saw intelligence as a form of creative power, something that must be expressed rather than simply stored away. Those who hoard knowledge without using it are not truly intelligent. They are collectors, not creators. And yet, intelligence alone is not enough. Nietzsche knew that many brilliant minds collapse under their own weight. Some become bitter and cynical, turning their intelligence against the world. Others become lost in abstraction, disconnected from reality. He saw this as the greatest tragedy of intelligence, when it is wasted, misdirected, or used as a weapon against oneself. To Nietzsche, intelligence must be paired with strength, not just physical strength, but mental and emotional resilience. Because intelligence, if left unchecked, can lead to despair. The more you see, the more you understand how flawed, chaotic, and absurd life can be. This is why many intelligent individuals struggle with existential dread. They see through the illusions of certainty, stability, and morality, and they are left with a terrifying freedom, the realization that nothing is predetermined, nothing is given, everything must be created. This is why Nietzsche's philosophy was not just about thinking, it was about becoming. He did not admire intelligence for its own sake. He admired those who used intelligence to push themselves beyond their limits. This is the concept of self-overcoming, the idea that true intelligence is not static, but a force that continuously drives you forward. To be truly intelligent is to understand that you are never finished. There is no final form, no ultimate truth, no resting place. The intelligent individual does not seek comfort. They seek growth, and growth means struggle, discomfort, even suffering. But Nietzsche saw this struggle as necessary. He believed that comfort breeds weakness, while hardship breeds strength. This is why highly intelligent individuals often feel drawn to challenges. They do not shy away from difficulty, they embrace it. They seek out problems to solve, puzzles to unravel, ideas to test. They are never satisfied with easy answers. They question authority, tradition, and even themselves. They understand that truth is not something that can be handed down. It is something that must be earned through experience. But this pursuit comes with risks. Nietzsche warned that those who think too deeply can easily become isolated, misunderstood, even broken. He saw this in many great thinkers before him, minds that burned too brightly and collapsed under their own weight. This is why he believed that intelligence must be tempered with a deep love of life. Nietzsche did not believe in cold, detached intellect. He believed that true intelligence is passionate, engaged, and deeply connected to existence. It is not just about analyzing life. It is about affirming it, embracing all of its chaos, its pain, its contradictions. This is the final test of intelligence. Can you think deeply without losing your ability to live fully? Can you see the darkness without being consumed by it? Can you question everything without falling into nihilism? Because in the end, Nietzsche did not admire those who simply understood life. He admired those who mastered it. And mastery is not about knowing all the answers. It is about having the strength to live without them. Nietzsche understood something that many people refuse to acknowledge. Intelligence, when left unchecked, can become its own worst enemy. The mind that sees too much, understands too deeply, and questions too relentlessly can become trapped in its own labyrinth. He believed that highly intelligent individuals must develop an inner balance, or else risk falling into despair, cynicism, or detachment from reality. One of the greatest struggles of an intelligent mind is the weight of awareness. When you see beyond the surface of things, when you recognize the contradictions in society, the illusions people cling to, the arbitrariness of traditions, it becomes difficult to participate in life the way others do. Nietzsche called this the burden of consciousness. The more aware you are, the heavier life feels. Most people find meaning in social norms, religious beliefs, or cultural traditions, but the highly intelligent often see through these structures and realize they are human-made, fragile, and arbitrary. This can lead to a dangerous realization. If everything is constructed, then nothing is inherently meaningful. Many intelligent individuals struggle with this existential crisis, feeling like they are outsiders in a world that blindly follows rules and rituals without question. Nietzsche warned that this kind of awareness, if not directed properly, can lead to nihilism, the belief that nothing matters, that life is meaningless, and that all efforts are in vain. But Nietzsche did not believe intelligence should lead to despair. Instead, he argued that those who recognize the illusions of the world have a responsibility to create their own meaning. This is the essence of his philosophy. Intelligence should not be used to destroy, but to build something new. If the world does not provide meaning, then the intelligent individual must create it for themselves. This is the true mark of a highly intelligent person. They do not settle for the meaning handed to them. They forge their own. They understand that while society offers pre-packaged identities, belief systems, and paths to success, these are not absolute truths. The intelligent person has the courage to step outside of these structures and define life on their own terms. But this is not easy. Nietzsche believed that those who take this path must be willing to embrace solitude, because the process of self-creation often requires stepping away from the crowd. Most people seek belonging above all else. They find comfort in agreeing with others, in fitting into the expectations of society. But the intelligent individual must learn to stand alone. Nietzsche saw solitude not as a weakness, but as a necessary stage of transformation. He believed that true intelligence requires time away from distractions, from the noise of the world, to deeply reflect and cultivate one's own thoughts. Many of the greatest thinkers in history, Nietzsche included, spent long periods in isolation, not because they hated people, but because they understood that true originality requires distance from the herd mentality. But solitude is not the same as withdrawal. Nietzsche did not believe in detaching from life completely. He warned against becoming too comfortable in isolation, because this leads to arrogance, bitterness, and a loss of connection with the real world. The goal is not to reject life, but to return to it stronger, clearer, and more self-possessed. This is why Nietzsche placed such importance on transcendence. To him, intelligence was not just about understanding reality, it was about rising above it. He admired those who could take the raw chaos of life and turn it into something meaningful, something beautiful, something powerful. This is the idea of the Übermensch, the overman, the one who overcomes himself and reshapes life according to his own values. And this is where the final and most important sign of intelligence comes in, the ability to not just think, but to transform. Many intelligent individuals remain stuck in endless cycles of questioning, doubting, and analyzing. They see too many perspectives, too many options, too many contradictions, and as a result, they do nothing. But Nietzsche argued that true intelligence is not just about understanding possibilities, it is about acting upon them. The highly intelligent do not simply observe life from a distance. They engage with it fully. They create, they innovate, they take risks. They know that thinking alone is not enough. One must take what they have learned and apply it, test it, live it. Nietzsche saw this in the great artists, the revolutionaries, the thinkers who did not just analyze the world but reshaped it. These were the people he admired, not just intellectuals, but those who had the courage to bring their ideas into reality. And this is where many intelligent people fail. They get lost in their own minds, trapped in endless speculation, hesitant to commit to any course of action. But Nietzsche believed that the highest expression of intelligence is not just in thought, but in creation and transformation. This is why he saw intelligence as a responsibility. To be highly intelligent is to have an obligation, not just to oneself, but to life itself. The greatest minds throughout history were not those who simply understood the world, but those who had the audacity to change it. Nietzsche saw life as a process of becoming, of continuously evolving, growing, and pushing beyond limitations. Intelligence should be a tool for self-transcendence, not a prison of over-analysis and self-doubt. The most intelligent are those who do not settle for existing within the boundaries set for them. They break through them and redefine what is possible. This is what separates those who merely think from those who truly transcend. The mind is a powerful thing, but it must be guided by will, by action, by a deep commitment to life itself. And so, Nietzsche leaves us with one final question. What will you do with your intelligence? Will you allow it to consume you, leaving you paralyzed by doubt? Or will you use it to shape your destiny, to rise above, to create something that did not exist before? Because intelligence in the end is not just about what you know, it is about what you do with what you know.